Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you guys for coming this afternoon, and appreciate your expertise. First question I'm going to have is for Dr. Watkins, because I was looking through some of the copies that you have of medical records and everything, and having experienced the explosion of the electronic medical record just in my own practice in the last 25 years, I see the challenges for it. If you could wave a magic wand, you know, there is a way to pull data out of these reports and quantify it. What would it look like? Because I preface it by saying we have so many different medical record systems in our country, most of which don't talk to one another. And unless we have literally a single system, I'm not sure of what this would look like. So I'm just interested in your thoughts about reality of this, how we do this, because I think the purpose is altogether a great one. But the devil's in the details. What does that look like?
Thank you for that question. I would also refer you to this report that has been done, and we can get you a copy of that. But what we're talking about is modernizing systems we already have. So our laboratory system, which is called LIMS, and its ability to rapidly transmit data between us and the provider and CDC and handle those genetic results, needs to be modernized and made more interoperable. Our death and birth certificate registries need to be more rapid. I mean, we shouldn't be having paper records of these important documents. Our immunization registry should be interconnected with our other disease reports. And our electronic disease collection system should be able to know if you've gotten influenza and a death certificate comes in, I shouldn't have to wait weeks. I should be able to see that within real time. So looking at being able to bring those in, and CDC is doing a lot of work on electronic case records and modernizing of all of these systems. What we're talking about is bringing all states up to a better level. Some states are really far behind, and some states are behind in some things but not in others. And when I think about a pandemic or the next emerging issue, I mean, we don't want public health to be the weak link in the chain. We want public health to protect your family, my family, and the public's health with the same tools that private medicine has and the same speed. So that's what we're talking about.
Thank you for the question. It's a daunting task. I think it's a good idea. I will tell you, it adds an entirely additional level of just data entry. But then again, that's what we do. We work on data.
We'd like to get out of the data entry. You know, I have some analogies for you, if I may. And to me, it's like, I'm sure we all have private physicians. We have healthcare providers. And, you know, they're not sharing information handwritten on you. They're not walking your lab test results in a spreadsheet. I mean, they're working in a modern world with modern technology and modern informatics. And public health is the front line for pandemics. We should be working with those same speed. It's like building a space probe and forgetting to put in the advanced communication and data sharing aspect of it. And I feel like in this modernization of healthcare, and we're talking about vaccine innovation, we're thinking about all that, but we need to think about modernization of public health data sharing so that we can be the front line of public health and not be the weak link in the chain.
Great, thank you. Because I agree, those are the issues. It's not cancer, it's not other things that you need the connectivity. Just one other quick question, just Dr. Robinson. I was wondering if you could speak to the fact, we've talked a little bit about the vaccines that come primarily from eggs versus the cell-based and the recombinant. Can you speak to really why you don't believe that the technology of the latter really is taking up, or are we making a good progress towards moving away from the egg-based vaccines?
So because of the efforts we had at HHS and primarily through BARDA, we actually made a paradigm shift where we were 100% egg-based to, as Dan Jernigan said today, 85%. Now, how are we going to move to at least having greater adoption of recombinant and cell-based where we don't have some of the problems with mismatches? It's, first of all, we have to realize that the influenza vaccine industry is a commodity-driven industry. And that the way that we were able to move the needle to begin with, it was interacting with them as a public-private partnerships. That has to be revived and continue to go forward with these new discoveries to make it worthwhile for them to have a product so they can get out of the egg-based vaccine business. I will say that there's promising progress that companies that are solely egg-based have actually either bought recombinant vaccine candidates and that are actually licensed now, or they are internally developing new influenza vaccine candidates. So we need to expedite that and facilitate it with the continued efforts that we've had with a good formula before.
Have one just follow up. Do you think that the recalcitrance to doing that really is regulatory, or is it the economies of the cost?
It's not regulatory. I mean, they will, industry, and I'm now part of that industry, may say, well, we don't want to do that because we have to go through the entire process of getting a new vaccine licensed to the FDA. And but that's the normal course of vaccine development. The real problem is, why spend money when we don't have to?
Sure.
And that's a reality.
Sure. Thank you very much. I'll yield back mine.
Great. Let me recognize